What is good, guys? It's Rey-Jay back with another video, and this I want to break down what's going on with the overall market and talk about why tomorrow is going to be an absolutely massive day. I'm also going to break down why on earth Jerome Powell is going to be speaking and what he could end up saying, and if Powell says anything very significant, how could this end up affecting NIO, Tesla, SPY, the QQQ, and many tickers out there. I'm going to break down why tomorrow is going to be huge when Powell is going to be speaking, but before I do anything like this, let me just mention a couple of things. I am personally not a financial planner, so take none of this as financial advice. And also, if you guys can, please check out the Moomoo link, which is down below and in the description. If you sign up for Moomoo, the link down below, and deposit $100 into the account, you're guaranteed 5 free stocks plus a $50 cash reward, and the offer ends in just 7 days. So anyways, now let's talk about the market. How are things looking? So NIO got a small little gap to the upside like we were predicting, getting this little pop to the 11s. Remember, yesterday it closed at about 10.8. Now we actually got a little gap up. And then we saw this thing push up during the pre-market yesterday to about 11.2. So it did make that move to the upside, small one. It just didn't really get the ability to break out. I warned you all that with the Fed speakers coming, we had Harker speaking today, not to mention Jerome Powell. In anticipation of Jerome Powell speaking, the market could slow down, and we ended up slowing down even harder than expected, at least based off the technicals from yesterday. So I thought, NIO would slow down a bit and end up kind of flat. Instead, we're down about 1.8%, which is still not like that horrible. It's only down like 1.8%. That's showing some relative strength because SPY was down 1.3%, right? The QQQ was down a lot more than that. The QQQ was down, let me just double check it, like over 2%. NIO could have been down 4% because it has a beta above 2. Instead, it was only down 1.8%. It's trying to base around this level, but the question is, how will it move for tomorrow? Will NIO continue to sink? Will NIO crash, or can NIO try to bounce? And this is going to depend on Jerome Powell. What does the big guy Jerome Powell end up saying? All right, so looking at this, all right, tomorrow morning, the market's going to open at like normal. Then 30 minutes after the market opens at 10 o'clock a.m. Eastern Time, we have the Michigan Consumer Sentiment Report and the 5-year inflationary expectations data coming out. So all this data comes out in the morning, right? The market's going to react to this. And then at about 10:05 a.m., we have Jerome Powell giving a speech. All right, this is going to be about 35 minutes after the market opens. Powell is going to be giving this very important speech at Jackson Hole. And when the guy talks, the entire market is going to move. If he's very hawkish, the market could get this rug pull. If he's not, the market could try to pump. And we're just going to watch it very carefully to see what he ends up saying. So make sure you're ready for this. I don't know exactly what it's going to cause, but so far the market's preparing in a very bearish manner, and we will have to wait and see. Now, the market is, currently this is showing that the market's neutral. I don't know if that's right. Should be a little bit more fearful. It could be because we bounced yesterday, and the overall reaction is still like in the middle. Because we got a big bounce yesterday, and the market started like cooling off today. I would say it's a little closer to like the fearful side. But if anything, greed is still yet to return to the market. I don't know if this is up to date though. I think this is still updating. So I don't think this is updated just yet, but the market should be less greedy, a little bit more fearful right now. The put and call ratio should be going up a little bit. I'm going to be watching all these indicators very carefully as the VIX is going up. I think fear should be taking over the market a little bit more. We're just waiting to see if this will update soon, but until then, we're still starting to see big changes. So did NIO drop 4.9% this week? Sure, it did, but if anything, it was actually only down 1.8% for today. And for the future of it, I'm still very bullish on the company moving forward. Now, looking at what these analysts are saying, there's actually this little chart here about NIO. You can see the value is not that high, but the future is super big, super, super bright. Health is very strong. The past is not as strong. Dividend is not that strong. That is still fine. It still has been up 44% in the last 3 months because you have to remember this thing was at $7 and $8 not too long ago. We're currently in the tens. So there's technically a slight improvement compared to a few months ago. But for the time being, and for tomorrow specifically, we're going to be watching to see how the market ends up affecting it. Now, we're getting very close. We're about a little bit over a week away from NIO announcing their next deliveries, and this is going to be very impactful and telling for how they end up moving. Now, Deutsche Bank giving NIO the buy rating is quite good. The price-price ratio is still a little bit low. I would love to see this increase. Looking at that, Fridays tend to be green about 53% of the time, but that doesn't really matter. I don't even think any of this data matters for tomorrow because it's all going to be dependent on Jerome Powell. Looking at the volume, it dropped on very low volumes. That's a pretty good sign that we're not seeing aggressive sellers here. It is selling off a bit, but we're going to be watching to see how it holds around this 10.5 area. So for tomorrow, guys, I can't really predict it. It depends on Jerome Powell. The guy is giving a speech tomorrow, 35 minutes after the market opens. I don't know what's going to happen if he pumps the markets. Watch NIO break above 10.8 and start pushing back to about 11.2. If he causes the rug pull, a big one, NIO could retest 10.5. That's some strong support. If that breaks, we could see it come down to about 10.2. We were talking about that area in the past. I'm sure you guys remember me talking about that for this distributive structure. Still not looking the best on NIO, but you're going to be watching 10.21 if it does end up breaking below that. There's also this imbalance down here at like 9.75 if it does break below 10. So 10 to 10.2 is going to be our support if we do see Powell give the market a big rug pull. NIO is trying to base right now, so we're going to be watching it very carefully. If Powell pumps the market, SPY is going to make its way back up to 438 plus to potentially 440 plus, then 442. If Powell causes a big rug pull, if the market comes down even harder, I think SPY could drop all the way down to 431.5 and try to bounce very close to 430 to 431. So it all depends on Powell. I don't know what he's going to cause, so I just want to be open-minded. Tesla looks more bearish, and also, guys, SPY does look bearish from a technical standpoint right now. It is looking more bearish, but just to be safe, let's wait and see what Powell says. So for Tesla, it's also looking more bearish from a technical standpoint. We're about to get a bearish cross on the PPO. We have a bearish divergence right here. If Powell causes the rug pull, if we get like what Tesla's, the overall chart is kind of like looking for, if Powell gives us the rug pull, we're going to see Tesla sink below 230. Back to about 226. If that fails us, watch 221 to 220. If that fails us, it could come all the way down to fill the gap at 215. If Tesla gets a bounce thanks to Powell, we could break above 234 and start pushing for 240 again. But it all depends on Jerome Powell. I can't, once again, predict that. For Aapl, it is looking more bearish, so the odds do favor more downside. If Powell causes a rug pull, watch 175 as support. Below that, we have the next support close to like where the gap is, around like 174. If Powell causes a pump, watch Aapl break above 178. It all depends on him. It is looking more bearish though, so the odds favor Powell causing downside, or at least some downside during the time he speaks. So we'll just have to wait and see. For the triple Q, if Powell causes a pump, watch this thing break above 365. It is looking more bearish from a technical standpoint, so the odds favor the downside. 357 could be retested, if not 354.7. Basically very close to 355 if we do get a big rug pull. So we'll have to see what Powell causes. The odds do favor downside nonetheless. For NVIDIA, I mean, this thing was crazy. It got a big pop and came right back down right after the crazy run from earnings. If Powell causes a bounce, watch NVIDIA retest 483. If it breaks, that 490 is on the table. If not, if Powell causes the rug pull, NVIDIA is going to come all the way down to 452 on the 4-hour time from this to 50 EMA. 452 to 456 will be retested. A big drop could come thanks to Powell. It all depends on him. So watch everything very carefully. So with that said, looking at the market, the dollar was up. It actually closed above 4, which is a decent sign. We'll see if the dollar keeps going. If it does, that's not going to be a good sign. So watch that resistance. And all I can really say is the charts look more bearish. They do look more bearish on SPY, Aapl, Tesla, and etc. So the odds favor Powell causing some downside. However, I can't say that with super, super high confidence. I can't really say that. It all depends on him. So we'll just have to wait and see. And until I see you guys again, thank you all for listening. Have a great day. Market to the moon as the long term is still very bright. And peace out.